I don't hate it. I think it's a good fight, and I'm standing on it. As unpopular as that is.
Sound like a writer.
Yeah,
A meat writer.
He's glazing him.
If you say anything positive about Jake Paul, oh, you're a D writer, you're this, you're that. Oh my god.
He don't know you, little bro.
Yeah. He ain't gonna let you hit, bro.
Regardless, Jake Paul fight day. We're for sure gonna be watching that. I guess because we're all Jake Paul meat writers now. The open workouts, the press. He's been talking a lot more. He called Shakira recently. Shakira Tweetinson, because he be tweeting a lot.
This might be an unpopular opinion, but I think Navarrete will be the highlight of the night. I think his fight will definitely be more entertaining than Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, I call it. You gotta just.
Devin Haney.
Durante
Tank Davis.
Boots Ennis.
And Tim Tszyu.
Tim Tszyu, yeah.
Tim Tszyu. All emo champions.
We're getting a lot of emo champions.
Yes.
That's crazy.
We live in the new era of boxing and
Yeah,
stuff like that. I remember one time he was crying at a post-fight press conference, and then everyone was calling him gay weather. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, he won the title fight. It's a very good moment in one's career, whatever. And then they're out here making fun of him. Same thing with Jake Paul. He's fighting in a smaller venue. He's still getting ridiculed for, it's not a pay-per-view, it's nobody and stuff like that.
Damn, I guess Jake Paul is Mayweather, dude. He's Mayweather reincarnated, dude. Oh, fuck.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Last Round Podcast. You got me, Pablo.
You got me, Rudo.
Also, L.
And let's talk boxing. Let's dive right into it with our first fight coming up this week on Thursday, of all days, too. We got the Shakur Stevenson versus Edwin De Los Santos fight, the showdown in Vegas. This was a big fight, You got Shakur coming off a TKO win against tough Japanese fighter Nakatani, and you got Edwin De Los Santos coming off a very impressive performance against was it Elvis Rodriguez or was it
Rayo?
No, he fought before. He fought after.
Oh, he fought after.
Was it Rodriguez, Elvis, or was it Adorno? Joseph Adorno. There you go. So Edwin De Los Santos is on the on the come up right now, and he's coming up against easily his toughest opponent to date, Shakur Stevenson. Now, what are your guys' thoughts about this fight? Predictions, everything about that, around that fight?
Yeah, Shakur Stevenson, it's surprising, he's I wouldn't say, I think it's kind of clear now that we see he is not a boxing superstar. He's fighting on a Thursday, of all days. Bit strange because he is a world champion. He is one of the elites at 135 skill-wise. However, I think there's something to be said about his popularity, about his name, about his fan base. So I think it's a good. He just has to keep on getting better and better names. I think Edwin De Los Santos is a good name boxing wise. Edwin De Los Santos definitely has a lot of skills, a lot of power, southpaw as well. But he's not a very big name for casuals, for the boxing fan. For the boxing, he's only. People would only know him if you actually follow boxing regularly.
Yeah.
So, it's a bit interesting for Shakur, but I think it's a good fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I'm actually looking forward to the whole card. We also have, as the co-main event, another title fight.
Yeah.
We have Emmanuel Navarrete, which I am a very big fan of.
I think we all are.
Yeah, exactly. Going up against Robert Conceicao. Robinson.
Yeah.
Conceicao, a tough Brazilian.
Olympian as well.
Yeah. So this is going to be a good event. I think for the Shakur fight, I'm more so interested to see him put on a show. I think for him, it's really important to build fans. And the way you build fans is having exciting, entertaining fights. And also where your personality kind of comes across. Because, my expectation for him is to win the fight.
Yes.
My expectation for him is to dominate. He is an elite guy at 135. No disrespect to De Los Santos, but I don't believe he's on the level of Shakur Stevenson.
So you don't give him any chance at all?
No. I would be surprised, very surprised, if he's able to pull off a victory.
I would say Edwin's best way of victory would be definitely a knockout. You know what I'm saying? That KO ratio is definitely a really high, one of the highest ones I believe that I've seen in recent boxers and stuff like that. And he's just a a guy with a lot of grit, a lot of hunger, really. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys who, 4 years ago, who was fighting on these no-name undercards and stuff like that, and now, he's gone through the long journey of beating the guys to then be able to get put on a bigger card and stuff like that. And yeah, like his last two opponents, I would say the last two opponents were always his biggest test, and he was uh able to overcome that. You know what I'm saying? Rayo Valenzuela on a week's notice, stopping a really hot prospect dead in his tracks. You know what I'm saying? And then he fought another prospect as well, Joseph Adorno, a guy who also has power just like him, and he was able to. Interestingly enough, he was able to box him as well. You know what I'm saying? So every time the cards are stacked up against him, it seems as though he's able to prevail. You know what I'm saying? Almost as if like a coal being crushed into diamond. You know what I'm saying? He's gone through that process, and I think Edwin has nothing to lose but everything to gain. That's a very dangerous fighter. Plus, not only can he punch, but he's shown that he's able to box, and he's a southpaw too. So it's interesting. There's a lot of things that I like about him, but I mean, I'm kind of rooting for him, if I'm gonna be honest. I think he has that puncher's dance for sure, and I think he could possibly give Shakur a little bit of a struggle. You know what I'm saying, with his boxing abilities.
Yeah, and that's all true. I mean, he's definitely shown his career has taken a turn. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why he has a big fight. You know, he's fighting for the title now.
Yeah.
So I'm actually not entirely sure how old he is, but he doesn't seem like a 21-year-old, right? So his career is definitely taking a turn for the better. He has shown great skills, great power. I've been really impressed by his power. Also, his recovery ability, because in that Rayo Valenzuela fight, he got hurt. He got hurt, and he was able to stay calm, be in the fire, and come back and knock out Rayo Valenzuela, TKO him. So, he is a very impressive fighter. But we're talking about Shakur Stevenson, who is the elite of the elites. Like, he is arguably one or two in the 135, division. So I don't see him losing. I don't see anything that De Los Santos can do. He has a puncher's chance, of course. Everyone has a puncher's chance. But going up against a master boxer, Olympian, who just understands range, distance, and who just understands boxing at a very high level, I don't see De Los Santos being able to land anything on him. It's going to be a tough fight because De Los Santos is definitely going to come to bring it. He's not just going to roll over and let Shakur Stevenson steamroll him. But Shakur Stevenson is Shakur Stevenson. There's a reason why they call him the boogeyman. No one wants to fight him. His boxing IQ is unrivaled, and I think he should put up a very amazing performance.
So I guess if we were just to choose Shakur's past opponents and stuff like that, where do you rank Edwin? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's compare him with when he fought against Valdez.
Edwin, I don't know, because for a guy like Edwin, I mean, just recently he's been doing really well. You know what I'm saying? He is undefeated.
No, he has only just one
loss.
Yeah.
But a very high KO percentage, yes?
Oh, yeah. I believe all the other fights have ended in knockout or stoppage, other than the last one. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, from what I've seen in his last two fights with Rayo, especially specifically about the Rayo fight, I just think, I mean, he's quick and he has power. But I don't know how good he really is. I can't rank him that well. I have to see him how he performs against Shakur. Yeah, that's what I'd have to see.
What about you?
I agree with Rafael. For me to rank De Los Santos is a bit tough based on what he just said. He's on this come up, and we're easily gonna see the best Edwin De Los Santos on the ring on Thursday. But I mean, on paper, I feel like you have to put Valdez over him.
World champion.
World champion. At 130 when he fought Shakur. But I mean, depending on how he looks on Thursday, which I believe he's gonna look incredible. He's already in incredible shape right now. They've done the the open workouts, the press. He's been talking a lot more. He called Shakira recently, Shakira Tweetinson, because he be tweeting a lot. He's in a happy mood. He's really feeling that. He looks confident. So I'm fairly certain we're gonna get it, the best Edwin De Los Santos, and on that day, on that fight night against Shakur, and rightfully so. He needs to put up a big performance to maybe if he doesn't win, at least he's able to showcase that he belongs at the top, and he can continue making these big fights and continue, building up his name, his resume, and keep getting those big paydays. Because depending on how he looks against Shakur, it's going to dictate a lot of where his career is going to go, win or lose, But personally, for me, I agree with Asel. I think Shakur is at a level in his boxing career that is just way too high, Edwin De Los Santos is going to bring it. He has that puncher's chance, like we mentioned and talked about before. But Shakur is, different level. There's levels in boxing, and I believe we're going to see that level on Thursday night. So I'm predicting a Shakur Stevenson unanimous decision.
Yeah, and another thing I'd like to mention is that, Shakur this isn't his dream fight like in his career. They're building him up to eventually fight a Tank Davis, a Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? These massive superstars. Edwin De Los Santos, this is his shot. This is the highlight of his career. He needs this fight to continue. Whereas Shakur, this is just like a stepping stone for him.
It should be. So he has to go out there. What I expect is for him to go out there, put a very solid performance, and just continue to look forward. This isn't the end of his career. I mean, this isn't even a pay-per-view fight. He still has mountain to climb in boxing, to fight like these Tank Davis, to have a whole boxing atmosphere, an event, have pay-per-view numbers, do all this stuff. He still is on that road, and Edwin De Los Santos is just like a stepping stone for him. So hopefully he gets past him, and he's able to, make big fights happen. It's crazy. I have a question, but it's crazy how just different their careers are at this moment in time. As what you said, this is Edwin's biggest fight of his career. The lights are going to be even brighter than the past two fights, and those have been pretty bright as well. There's going to be a lot more eyes looking at him and stuff like that. And Shakur, I just think he's definitely on a different level. As you said, his boxing abilities are really rare, kind of once in a lifetime, if you want to say. But also he's chasing greatness. You know what I'm saying? He's chasing legacy. And that right there kind of gives you a sense of like, where they're at level wise and stuff like that. But this is boxing. There's always that puncher's chance. So with that being said, if Edwin were to win, how would that change things, the trajectory?
It'd be crazy. I mean, like Shakur Stevenson, they're building him up to be a world superstar. They're building him up for mega fights. There's mega fights in his horizon if he's able to clear all challengers. So for Shakur Stevenson, it's a complete fall from grace. People already have him in the top 10 pound for pound. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a very big hype train for him for the boxing community, and if he loses, it's gonna make it hard for him to once again even penetrate like the boxing casuals. He doesn't really have a very big household name, and if he comes to lose, boom, his stock just falls very, very fast. And for Edwin, it's the complete opposite. His stock is just gonna continue to rise, just like it has been rising. His last two fights have been really, really well. His career has taken a sharp turn upwards, and if he's able to get past Shakur Stevenson, I mean, it's gonna be insane. It's him who's in the driver's seat. Maybe potential fights with other big names at 135, championship fights, pay-per-view fights. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, whoever is the winner, I see big mega fights in their horizon for the future. Tank Davis, Pitbull, all these guys. So,
yeah, if Shakur were to lose on Thursday, I would say it would be one of, if not the biggest upset of the year. Like he mentioned earlier or right now, that the boxing community portrays Shakur Stevenson as the closest resemblance to Floyd. He's this boxer, an Olympian, had an incredible amateur career, went to the professional, has just been dominating every single opponent, even these world champions that he's been fighting, and so for him to lose on Thursday would be a huge upset. It would change the whole trajectory of the 135 division. And not only that, but you would see a lot of Devin Haney tweets out there, ridiculing him. Maybe even Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia perhaps could get a little a little yapping on Twitter, on X. But yeah, it'd be a very it would not be good news, or it would be a very bad moment in Shakur's career, and it's something that I'm sure he's aware of, but. He's a guy who's always in the gym, He's always working hard. He rarely seems to be taking a day off, He's constantly trying to level up his game. So for him to lose, it's possible, but it's very unlikely for that to happen in my eyes. But if Edwin De Los Santos pulls it off, man, I would be, I'd have to eat my words, Mm-hmm. We'd all have to eat our words because, that'd be probably the biggest moment of one of the biggest moments of this year in boxing.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's incredible fall from grace for Shakur Stevenson if that were to happen, And I'm sure, he has that pressure on him. Just like in his future, people are saying, like, this guy is nothing compared to the fights that are in his future. So he should just step on this guy easily, steamroll him just like nothing, push him aside. So if that doesn't happen, it's going to be completely horrible for him. But with that being said, like you said, it's a far-fetched idea, and I see Shakur Stevenson with a clear unanimous decision. Maybe the first couple rounds are competitive, but once it gets into the second half of the fight, Shakur Stevenson is easily going to pull away with a very big lead.
Yeah. Also, another thing that to bring up is just the expectation, you know what I'm saying? As you guys were saying before. Like, this is just in the eyes, I guess you could say. He's just a puncher. He's not much of a boxer. He shouldn't be able to keep up with, Shakur, right? So he's dealing with that kind of pressure, right? To put on a good performance. But also, he's fighting on Thursday, you know what I'm saying? As fighters and stuff like that, who are typically known to have big, or if not big pay-per-view fights, but like championship fights, it's always expected on Saturday. But the reason why is because he doesn't have the fans, he doesn't really have those eyes and stuff like that. So I think that's maybe another level of, it could be a double sword, you know what I'm saying? It could push him harder during training camp to be like, yo, I'm going to put on a really good performance so that way, whenever I want to fight on Saturday, like, that's going to be my day. Almost like Canelo. Canelo fights whenever. There's been other big UFC fights on the same day that he fights, and yet he outsells that because the name, the notoriety, the brand, or whatever, the face of boxing. And if we're going back to what I said earlier, he's trying to chase legacy. He's really trying to be the next face, the next big thing in the next X amount of years. Yeah, he definitely needs to do that. He definitely needs to not only win, but put on a show. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the casual viewer who tunes in, or for the person who actually buys a ticket, they have to be like, wow, dang, like, I'm surprised, like, he made this look so easy, or he knocked him out. He knocked out the puncher. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but I'm still running with Edwin.
Oh, yeah, you think he's gonna win?
I kind of want. I want. Yeah, I kind of want. I do kind of want him to win.
In your mind, would you be? Who do you? If you were a betting man, put money on the line. You putting money on Edwin, or are you putting money on Shakur Stevenson?
He's putting $1 on Edwin.
Yeah.
My heart is with Edwin, but my money is on Shakur.
Yeah. Like, it's it's a bad bet to bet against someone like Shakur Stevenson.
I think so too, but it's just Edwin. I want to continue to see Edwin, and I want to see him fight some of these other guys as well. You know what I'm saying? Some of the names that you mentioned, Pitbull, Tank. I don't know if Devin Haney can actually go down to 135 no more. I've seen a couple clips of him hitting the double end bag. He looked like big. A 147 pounder, bro.
He looks big.
So I don't know. We'll see. And then there's other guys here and there that are also a good matchup for him at 135 and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see. For certain though, I am expecting Edwin to bring it though. I don't think he's gonna respect Shakur. I think because Shakur doesn't have that punch, I think he's gonna try to. He might just walk through it or just not respect it like that. So, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. talking about a little bit the co-main event with the Navarrete. What do you guys think about that fight?
I mean, we covered it a little last week, but my prediction has not changed. I still believe Navarrete is too awkward, too much volume. I'm predicting a late TKO stoppage for him. You know, Conceicao is a tough guy. You know, he's showing he can take a beating. You know, if you look at the Shakur fight, even though Shakur doesn't have that much pop, but he does have some type of, power at least.
And it's mentally fatiguing.
Yeah.
To just get your ass kicked.
Exactly. So,
Physically and mentally.
yeah. So I mean, he's showing he can take a beat down, but Navarrete punches hard. You know, he's a hard puncher. He's very awkward, like I just mentioned. So those punches are gonna be coming at different angles, at angles that he's not used to getting, hit with. So my prediction remains the same for this Thursday night co-main event. Navarrete late TKO stoppage.
Honestly, I think this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think Navarrete will be the highlight of the night. You know, I think his fight will definitely be more entertaining than Shakur Stevenson. Because, I mean, listen, I love high-level boxing as much as the other guy. But there's something different to be said about a style, the Mexican style of Navarrete. You know what I'm saying? With those awkward punches, crazy power. You know, I think he's going to steal the night, and he's the one that's going to be taking home all the fans.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that my opinion still hasn't changed. It remains the same, Navarrete. But something that I've seen is that a lot of people on Twitter are also riding heavily with Navarrete. Like, not only do they pick him, like, my heart is with Navarrete, my money is with Navarrete, but they expect a shutout, a complete shutout, or a late stoppage, or a TKO, or a blank, like, KO. Like, they're just really riding off Conceicao off just like that. And I feel like they should like, chill a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I know Robbins... Calm down a little bit, because I understand his career isn't where he would like it to go. You know, he lost to Shakur, but I mean, some of these other guys who he's fought for the title, Valdez, I feel like he won. I feel like he definitely got robbed. And I think that's what happens when you fight against someone in their own hometown and stuff like that. But he's an Olympian. He had a whole bunch of amateur experience, and he has world title fight experience as well. So you can't write off a guy like that, you know what I'm saying, just so easily like that. I think Robinson is definitely going to come in and try to make things tricky for Navarrete. But yeah, as what you said, like, yeah, his barrage of punches, his aggression is something different. So I really feel like it's almost like two different forces. Like boxing, Robinson Conceicao trying to be smart, look pretty, move around a lot on his feet. That's what I'm predicting. I feel like Navarrete is going to be like an oncoming train with no brakes. We'll just have to see how Robinson is able to adjust to that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, listen, Conceicao has a champion mentality. You know, I don't believe, you got to put some respect on his name. He's not a joke. Like, he is a champion mentality. I believe he beat Oscar Valdez, who is a champion, two-division world champion, two-division world champion. Oscar Valdez, he might not be the best fighter out there. I'm not saying he's the best, but he is a very good fighter. He's a good fighter. Conceicao showed that he's on that level. He comes to fight. He has high spirits, and also this boy is conditioned to the bone. I don't know if you've seen him, but he is shredded, and he always comes in with the best shape, so you're not going to expect to see him gassed out in the later ends of the fight. He is going to be able to, or I expect him to be able to keep up with Navarrete, not punch volume wise, but like gas tank wise. Maybe he might not throw as much, but he's not going to be exhausted by the 10th. I don't believe so. He's definitely not a joke, and that's why for my prediction, I don't think it's going to be a TKO stoppage. I think it's going to go all 12 rounds. I think Navarrete is going to pull off a clear unanimous decision, competitive fight. No such wide margins, but definitely a clear decision for Navarrete, showing he was the better man. But I think Conceicao is going to have some points in there. Navarrete isn't perfect. He has flaws in his defense. He gets hit sometimes. So Conceicao is going to have some good rounds. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a clear victory, and the clear victor is going to be Emmanuel Navarrete.
I can see that too, a clear UD for Navarrete. But I already mentioned my reasoning for why I believe Navarrete is going to stop him. But another reason why is because I got another reason. The performance he put up against Valdez was easily his best performance he's pulled in quite a while. You know, his debut at super featherweight was shaky. For the first time, we saw Navarrete get hurt and dropped by essentially a no name. You know, but he showed grit, he showed resilience, he showed the championship mentality, and he came up and dropped Wilson and ended up stopping him. So going up into the Valdez fight, you know, people were actually writing Navarrete off, saying, "Oh, this is going to be another Valdez versus Burchell, where Burchell, you know, Navarrete just or Valdez is just gonna knock him out, you know, because of the way Navarrete's been looking." But the performance that he put up against Valdez, you know, any other fighter, I believe, who would have fought Navarrete that night would have gotten stopped. I believe that because not only was he punching Valdez with everything he had, the volume was insane, enough to drown anybody. And Valdez is just one tough guy, you know. He's shown he fought with broken jaws before. He's got that Mexican, you know, spirit, you know, to never back down, to not, you know, to keep going. And you know, it's very hard to stop someone like that, you know, who had that mentality. So, but I believe if there was any other opponent in there against Navarrete on that night where he fought Valdez, they would have gotten stopped. And if he shows that same performance that he did against Valdez against Conceicao, then there's no doubt in my mind that he's gonna stop this man.
Interesting. It could very well happen. You know, Navarrete, yeah, his last performance was amazing, and I think if he is able to get the stoppage, I mean, amazing for his career. You know what I'm saying? Amazing. The boxing critics are finally gonna start. You know what I'm saying? Giving him credit, because I feel like they kind of discredit him a little bit because of his style.
Yeah.
So, you know, if he wants to get all the respect, he needs to go in there and stop Conceicao.
That's very true. But I believe the real winners are going to be the fans because since it's no, here's the thing. It's on a Thursday, right?
Thursday afternoon.
In Vegas. That's got to be, you know, a lot more cheaper flights, a lot more cheaper hotels, man, than being there on a Saturday, you know. So I think the fans ended up winning at the end of the day. The people who are going to go watch this event, you know, they're saving money, you know, to go to Vegas to watch boxing.
Also, not pay-per-view.
It's not pay-per-view either. Yeah, boxing wins on Thursday night. Of all days, on the Thursday. On the Thursday.
Yeah.
Thirsty Thursday, man. Hey, man. That means we start drinking on Tuesday, right? Let's go. Anyways, moving forward, to the welterweight scene. So as we know, big news. You know, as we all know, back in July, Terrence Crawford absolutely obliterated Errol Spence. You know, in devastating fashion, and one of the worst beatdowns I've seen in recent years for a championship fight at that level. You know. Anyways, you know, Crawford has been enjoying himself, you know, buying houses, you know, getting Bomac out of jail. He's been doing his thing, right? Well, I guess the IBF did not like that and stripped him off his IBF championship for the reason being that he could not fulfill his mandatory because he still had a rematch clause for Errol Spence, meaning that his mandatory, who is Ennis Boots, is now the new IBF champion. So Terrence Crawford is no longer undisputed. What are you guys' thoughts about this?
I mean, this is crazy, man. Like, first of all, I think it's a bit unfair for Crawford. You know, he is contractually obligated to have a rematch against Errol Spence Jr. Okay, so I find it a bit harsh to penalize him for, you know, fulfilling that agreement. Like, I feel like it's a bit messed up. That's the first thing. Second thing we got to recognize is that Boots Ennis is now an email champion.
Yeah.
You know, he
Call a spade a spade.
Yeah, call it. You know, you got to just...
Devin Haney. Durante Tank Davis. Boots Ennis. And Tim Tszyu.
Tim Tszyu.
All emo champions.
We're getting a lot of emo champions.
Yes.
That's crazy.
We live in the new era of boxing.
Yeah, this might be the new era of boxing. I don't these boxing organizations, listen, I don't know what goes through their mind when they make these type of decisions. You know, their decision making confounds me, right? So they've been doing a lot of things I do not agree with this past year. So once again, they strike again and they make Boots Ennis a full champion because he was once an interim. Before he was an interim. But I think a lot of people are kind of hating on Boots Ennis, and I say he's an emo champion. But to be fair, it isn't his fault. You know what I'm saying? He does what he is. He does what he does. He goes into the ring and he beats people up, and they give him titles. That's what a boxer's job is. He's just fulfilling his job. Now the IBF, I think, is the one that are at fault. The whole organization, like he didn't want to become an emo champion. I'm sure he wanted to win it, just like every other legendary boxer has won it by beating the champion. But if the IBF is just gonna send you it through email, it's like it's not like you can say no. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not his fault. I think people are going a little harshly on Boots Ennis. You know what I'm saying? He is fulfilling his job as a boxer, which is beating people up. And the IBF is where the corruption and all this, weird logic comes into play, where they're just handing out belts to these interim champions like it's candy.
Yeah, I think within the 4 major boxing ones, I think the WBC is one of the most corrupt ones. But that's just my personal opinion. Either way, rumor has it, though, that apparently the reason why the IBF decided to strip Crawford and hand it over to Boots is because he's very keen on still moving up and fighting Canelo. Although he is contractually obligated to give Errol Spence a rematch. Possibly there's talks about, for sure it's going to be at 154, but with Showtime not going to be in boxing no more after this year. I think there's little things here and there they got to kind of like figure it out. But that's apparently the gist, that they took it away because Crawford is very still keen on wanting to fight Canelo.
Yeah, completely. I mean, it's dumb, man. Like, it's unfair.
Do you think he said that because he's running away from Boots?
Who, Crawford?
Crawford.
No, that'd make no sense, because that's like you're taking on a harder fight if you fight Canelo at 168 than Boots Ennis at 147. You know what I'm saying? Boots Ennis, listen, he has great skills. He is definitely I would bet my money he is the future at welterweight. He does have good skills. I have been very impressed by him. The most thing that impresses me the most is just how comfortable he is in the ring. Like, he looks like he belongs there. He doesn't fight with any nerves. He fights like he really belongs there. And that comes from hours and hours in the gym.
Like his last fight against VI, he did the whole slow motion.
He did the whole, that just exudes confidence. It exudes like, hey, this is my ring. And that's what I like personally about him. Now I'm sold. I'm definitely sold on him. I think he is definitely the future at 147. But he's definitely not on the level of Terrence Crawford. I mean, let's be honest. Terrence Crawford, he showed that he is a very, very highly skilled fighter in that Errol Spence fight. You know what I'm saying? He knows what he's doing in there. He's got experience in there. He's been 2 undisputed world champion, man. Like, he's definitely higher level than Boots Ennis. But now that this has happened, it's more possible now to see a fight between Boots Ennis and Terrence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? I'd say the chances are still slim, but I think the chances have increased. Maybe Terrence Crawford wants to become undisputed again. You know what I'm saying? So we never know.
It's a possibility. I don't believe. Honestly, my prediction is a hot take, but I don't think they're ever gonna fight. Crawford's at that age already. He's 35.
Yeah, 35, 36.
He's in the older, on the older side, where Boots is, still young and fresh. Not to say, I mean, I still believe Crawford is more skillful than Boots, but I mean, Crawford is coming out from, the biggest payday of his career with a potential another payday in a rematch against Errol Spence. But that leaves the question, because Crawford has mentioned he wants to go up to 154 and, fight Charlo up there, or even Tim Tszyu, all these other fighters at 154. So I personally do not believe the fight against Boots Ennis will ever happen. That's just my opinion. It's a hot take. Take it as you will. Believe whatever you want. But that's my personal opinion. That fight will probably never happen. And it will be a what-if fight.
Yeah, the chances are definitely slim. Crawford, I think he just has bigger fish to fry. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not worried about Boots Ennis. Now that he's a world champion, I guess people are going to start just talking more, saying, you said he didn't have any belts, or you said he was really a nobody. He hasn't really done that much in the sport, but now he's a world champion. He's an email champion, so you know what I'm saying. Let's settle down a little bit. Crawford is on a very different level, and he can do whatever he wants. and I think he should chase bigger fights. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Canelo fight would happen, but chasing that fight, going up to 154, becoming 3 times undisputed. You know what I'm saying? Though that's on his horizon, not some guy Boots Ennis.
Yeah, and plus, like, he's definitely at that age. Like, it goes back to the thing. I think old man versus the new guy or the youth. Crawford would have everything to lose. You know what I'm saying, against a guy who's much younger and stuff like that. I think right now Crawford is at the age where he really, was a year or two ago he got off of that top rank contract. Now he's making a lot more money now. He's definitely made the most money he's ever made this year with the Errol Spence fight alone. And yeah, he's been calling out Canelo. He's been calling for a potential another undisputed run at 154. So it's 154, 168. Those are money fights, you know what I'm saying? That's what he's chasing. He's not really chasing for belts necessarily. I think he's mostly just chasing for the money. And I mean, I don't blame him, you know what I'm saying? He's at the age, try to milk it as much as you can. The life of an athlete is not long. It's very short. So I think that's what he's trying to do now. Whether he is actually able to get the Canelo fight, I believe we'll see him at 154 for sure, I think.
Yeah, like you said, you can't blame the man. He's 2-time undisputed, multiple-time world champion, undefeated. He's pretty much, he already cemented himself as one of the greatest welterweights of all time. And even you could make the argument of one of the best boxers of all time too, because based on his achievements that he's achieved, throughout his career, he definitely already had the legacy. So for him to, fight other champions at 154 instead of Boots Ennis, it's completely understandable. He's the man. He's considered the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world. And the world is his oyster. He's free to fight whatever fight he wants at whatever price he wants. So that's Boots Ennis. He has a lot of other fights at welterweight too. He's got the Mario Barrios potentially fight, which, in my opinion, would be the most biggest ass whooping, I think.
Bro, Mario Barrios is a tough Aztec warrior.
He is a tough guy. I'll give it to him. He is a very tough guy, but there's, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, there are levels to the sport, and Boots Ennis, I believe, would stop him and give him a worse beating than Thurman gave him. He'd leave him worse than what Keith Thurman left him. But yeah, Boots has he still has a long career to go through. So for him, I'd say just continue working at welterweight, keep fighting these challengers, keep fighting, and maybe you'll get to the level of being the man in the sport of boxing.
Yeah, he's still very young. I don't think it'd necessarily even be a smart decision to fight Terrence Crawford, even Errol Spence. Although I don't think Errol Spence is ever fighting at 147 again. But yeah, he's has a bright future, so he doesn't it's unnecessary, and it's just not necessary to fight someone like Terrence Crawford. So
well, I guess the emo champ whole meme continues on to this very day. But let's go over to a potential world champion in the making,
Okay.
Jake Paul.
Okay.
Recently, Jake Paul came out and announced his next opponent for December, and his name is Andre August, a 35-year-old 10-1 fighter, in what seems to be a hotel. Is it? Where is he fighting in
yeah,
at?
in like a hotel type of.
In a hotel, a small venue. Nothing compared to his fights with these MMA fighters like Nate Diaz or Tyrone Woodley. Even Ben Askren, he's fighting what a lot of these casual or influencer fans would say, a bum, or just making fun of his opponent selection. Now, for you guys, what are you guys' thoughts about Jake Paul picking Andre August as his next opponent in December?
Listen, people are being super critical about Jake Paul. Like, I don't know what they expect him to. They expect him to fight a world champion already?
Yeah,
Or
he should be fighting Canelo next.
He should be fighting Canelo. That's what they want, apparently.
Benavidez.
Man. Like, listen, Jake Paul. He's and this definitely is proof of it. He wants to take the typical boxing route, and what you do by taking the typical boxing route is fighting, guys like this. This is a decent name. Or not a decent name, a decent record.
Decent opponent.
Yes. Like for the fights that Jake Paul has, what, 7?
8, 7, yeah.
He has 8 fights, 7-1. So for him to fight a guy that's 10-1-1, that's a good matchmaking fight for Jake Paul. Listen, he isn't the best boxer in the world, best fighter in the world. He's doing this to gain experience. He's doing this to get more comfortable in the ring, you know, to fight different styles. Because I think it is true. He wants to actually take this boxing route serious. He wants to take the boxing journey, the typical boxing journey. And this is a good sign of it. I think it's a great opponent for him. I think Jake Paul, this opponent for Jake Paul is fantastic. This is a perfect level for him to, you know, just like I said, gain experience, all this type of stuff. He needs a fight like this.
Yeah, that's exactly the same way of thinking that I've been thinking. Yeah, like he's taking this seriously. Like obviously, like not every fight is gonna be big. Yes, he has maybe not fan base, partially yes, but he has a lot of eyes on him. He could fill out another arena against another MMA guy, but he's taking this whole boxing thing very serious. Unlike his brother Logan, he's taking this very serious. So within a boxer's career, you're gonna have to take riskier opponents, or you're gonna have to test the waters out to see if you really about it, or if you really do belong in this game. You know what I'm saying? So yes, he's fighting in a smaller venue. He's fighting against a guy who's not really well known, even against among casuals and stuff like that. But the record shows it all. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty much leveled, pretty much similar, maybe on the same level boxing wise and stuff like that. So now it's basically like who swims and who drowns, really. And, you know, props to Jake Paul. He's the one who's actually putting himself out there and stuff like that. So props to him. Yeah, props to him.
Here's the thing. You know, a lot of people were hating on it, and like what you guys mentioned, because of the name, he's basically fighting a nobody, right? But where's that energy with, you know, these other influencers like KSI when he fought Joe Fournier? Joe Fournier had nearly the same record as Andre August has, you know, maybe a little bit better. Regardless, Joe Fournier was a 40-year-old man, you know, who's also a bum, you know.
He's a businessman.
But there was more leniency with KSI when he picked that opponent. Whereas Jake Paul, because he's Jake Paul, you know, Jake Paul is easily one of the most hated people in the scene, you know. They hate him. They hate him with a passion. Whatever he does, whatever he says, people are always going to criticize him. So with this, you know, I believe it's just his name, his brand, what he stands for, which is the reason why he's getting so much hate. Whereas these other boxers, you know, KSI, for example, his nemesis, when he picked Joe Fournier, you know, there was some criticism, but people were saying, oh, but he's fighting a pro boxer, you know, he's fighting a pro boxer. Undefeated? I think he lost against David Hay in an exhibition. Regardless, I mean, the same energy should be applied to both. And just because it's Jake Paul, I believe he's just getting hate.
Yeah, people want to criticize Jake Paul over absolutely anything. And, you know, and there's a lot to criticize about this fight. Yes, you can mention the fact he has fought like once and his opponent has fought once in 4 years. Yeah. Or, you know, what else? Oh, this isn't pay-per-view. This is a smaller venue. This guy's a no-name. Yes, you can. There are multiple things to criticize about this fight. But it's a clear indication that Jake Paul really wants to take this seriously and he wants to gain experience. And he's bringing a lot of eyes into the sport of boxing. I think if you're criticizing him about this fight, then you're just a hater. Because you're really just a Jake Paul hater because you just want to see him, A, lose, or B, you just hate him. Like, so.
Certified hater, man. Come on. Yeah, like you mentioned, Jake Paul is he's doing a lot for the sport, you know, and he just mentioned it early on in his career that he wants to do something with this. And even though he has said it in ways that, you know, rubs off bad to the fans, you know, saying, oh, I could beat Canelo, I could, you know, beat all these, you know, people. Regardless, he should, like you mentioned, he's showing that he wants to try to do something with it. And he said his aim is to be a world champion. So for me, I see this as a positive. This is his first step towards that goal and that dream that he's trying to achieve. And if anything, he has all the advantages in the world. Because first off, he's young, and he's pretty wealthy. You know, he's got the team, he's got the facility, he's got the equipment, he's got the coach, he's got everything to his advantage to make this a possibility. He's not just a YouTuber. He's a YouTuber who's training like a professional fighter. So essentially, he's a professional fighter.
He's definitely a professional.
He trains
fighter.
like one. He
lives the life of one.
Mm-hmm.
He might be even considered a prize fighter.
He diets. He nutritionist. He has a strategy. He has a coach. Everything. He lives the life of a boxer. He is a professional boxer who has relatively good skills considering the fact that he just started boxing and considering all the pressure that's around him. He's doing a very good job. I don't like his character per se, and obviously the things that he says most of the time are trolls. I could be Canelo right now. Okay, yes. Obviously it can't be Canelo. Like, if you look through all the bullshit that he says, because he spews a lot of bullshit. But if you look past it and you see him for what he's actually trying to do, if you see his actions, I think you have to come to respect it. He is doing a lot for the sport of boxing. It takes a lot of balls to step into the ring and fight riskier and riskier opponents. Listen, if he loses against his no name, the whole internet is gonna clown him. Yeah. That's a very big mental toll on you. So I respect Jake Paul, as a boxer, he is definitely doing what boxers do, and that's getting in the ring and fighting people.
Would you say, going back to the level of hate that he's received, do you think it's the same level of hate as Mayweather? Would you say he's the Mayweather of YouTube boxing? Because any little thing that Mayweather would do, they would just ridicule him and stuff like that. Remember one time he was crying at a post-fight press conference, and then everyone was calling him gay weather? You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, he won the title fight. It's a very good moment in one's career, whatever. And then they're out here making fun of him.
Yeah.
It's same thing with, he's leveling up. That's his own storyline. Same thing with Jake Paul. He's fighting in a smaller venue. He's still getting ridiculed for, it's not a pay-per-view, it's nobody and stuff like that.
Damn, I guess Jake Paul is Mayweather, dude. He's Mayweather reincarnated, dude. Oh, fuck. Maybe he will be the Mayweather of our generation.
No, dude, Mayweather was so hated. He's still hated to this day. Anytime.
But I ain't gonna lie, some of the hate is warranted. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, some of the hate,
I'm
but
gonna keep it 1,000.
But if you look at, sometimes I'd be going through shorts of boxing shorts on YouTube, and they'd be like a Pacquiao versus Mayweather, and I look at the comments and people just be flaming Mayweather. They be flaming. They still flame him they hate him. He is one of, I believe he's the most hated boxer I've ever, seen. The level of hate and disrespect he gets from the fans. He obviously did not, rub off well to the fight fans, and he probably never will, honestly. But same thing goes with Jake Paul. The thing with Jake Paul though is because Mayweather did it. He talked, all that shit, but he proved it inside the ring. And even though his style, didn't cater towards boxing fans, what they considered, fighting, because he would essentially just outbox you, and just use his phenomenal, unbreakable defense that he had. Whereas Jake Paul has, essentially not proved absolutely anything to be saying that some of the things that he has been saying, which is why people hate on him. But so I guess the level of hate is different, if you look at it through those lens. But I guess you could make the argument that Jake Paul is the Mayweather of the influencer scene.
Yeah. So yeah. But listen, yeah, Jake Paul, he is a fighter now. He is a boxer. He's taking this seriously, and good for him, man. It takes a lot of balls. He's still young, so he still has time to learn the sport of boxing. But he says within 3 years he wants to be fighting for a world championship.
Yeah, I'm not sure if 3 years is enough time, but granted, let's just take it to the Do you guys consider him as now a professional or boxer, or still an influencer boxer?
I mean, I'm still gonna call him an influencer boxer. Yeah. He started as an influencer boxer. So he's always going to be branded as an influencer boxer.
Yeah.
He is going to be alienated in the boxing community, as we've seen, and they are never going to treat him as an equal, as a regular boxer. They're never going to.
So yeah, let's just take it within the aspect of influencer boxers. Like, there's been a lot of guys who, just like him, they go into boxing because they have X amount of followers or a fan base so huge that they'll be willing to go watch him, fly out over there, or pay to watch the pay-per-view or whatever. But then they soon quickly realize that like it's not for them, you know what I'm saying, or they're not built for it, you know what I'm saying. The one that comes to mind is Wenderson. Really, like he's tough, he's gritty, but he's not really there, you know what I'm saying. And Jake Paul, like same thing, like is he really about it? Is he gonna survive? It looks like he's just knocking out retired MMA guys, or at his first fight was a basketball player and stuff like that. But he's shown throughout the years that he continues to improve. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't back down. He continues to get fight bigger steps, challenges, and stuff like that. And if he continues on, maybe he could fight a very decent boxer, maybe like top 10 within whatever. If he decides to stay at cruiserweight, maybe he could give a good show, you know what I'm saying, good performance against a guy like that. But a world title fight, I don't know. I don't know.
It's highly unlikely, but I mean, I'm enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll enjoy the spectacles that Jake Paul brings, because he does bring a good spectacle. You know, this fight isn't going to be pay-per-view, so it's going to be easier to watch. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, I don't hate it. I think it's a good fight, and I'm standing on it, as unpopular as that is.
You sound like a writer.
Yeah,
a meat writer.
If you say anything, no, that's a true.
He's glazing him.
If you say anything positive about Jake Paul, oh, you're a D writer, you're this, you're that. Oh my god.
He don't know you, little bro.
Yeah. He ain't gonna let you hit, bro. It's like, bro, I can't give the man respect, man. Like, you know, he got some balls. He steps into the ring. He does all this stuff. So, I don't hate the matchup at all. I think it's a good matchup.
Yeah, great matchup. We'll see what Jake Paul brings, against the quote unquote actual professional fighter. I'm here for it.
Yeah. What are you guys' predictions on this? Because I've seen a couple clips of the other dude.
I haven't seen anything about that.
You haven't seen?
No.
Have you?
it's until when is it? When even is it?
December.
Yeah.
December 15th, December 9th, or whatever.
Once we're closer.
I've seen a couple of clips and stuff like that. One, him dropping some opponent. Another one where it's just him looking somewhat mid. I think it's gonna be pretty even out. But I guess I'm a Jake meat rider, because I'm gonna go with Jake.
I guess we're on me right now. So,
We're all Jake stands.
yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to tell you right now, because I don't know the other guy. Haven't really paid much attention. But I mean, Jake Paul wouldn't take a fight if he didn't think there's a high possibility of him winning. So, based off of that, I don't see him losing, but you never know. It's boxing. Yeah.
Regardless, Jake Paul fight day, we're for sure going to be watching that. I guess because we're all Jake Paul meat writers now. Did you think we covered everything today? Yeah? All right. Let us know your guys' prediction on the Shakur Edwin De Los Santos down below. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, X, TikTok. We also have a Discord, so make sure to join that as well. If you have any other questions, for example, does Jake Paul knock out Andre August in December? Is Boots the better opponent for Terrence Crawford instead of an Earl Spence rematch? Whatever your questions you guys have, whatever remarks, opinions, whatever, put it down in the comment section below. Like I mentioned, don't forget to follow us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe. We upload shorts daily. And this is Pablo.
This is Ruel.
Asael.
And this was the Last Round Podcast. Thank you.